Welcome to the June 11th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. A meeting was held at 6:05 in the council chambers of City Hall for clarification of the agenda. The following is the official agenda of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Discussion and commission action will be limited to those items on the agenda. Any citizen who wishes to address the commission shall first be recognized by the chair and shall give his or her name for the record. If a citizen wishes to read documentation of any sort to the commission, she or he shall first seek permission from the chair. There is a 3-minute time limitation for public testimony to the commission. Aislinn, will you call the roll?
Benjamin Gomez.
Here.
Adam Dyer.
Here.
Judy Mendoza.
Here.
Richard Phillips.
Present.
We have Marjana Hewlett and Desiree Valladolid that are.
Does anyone have any conflicts of interest or ex parte contact to report? Great. If everyone would please silence their cell phones. The commission may wish, we'll move on to agenda item number 2, which is the approval of minutes. The commission may wish to approve the minutes from the clarification and regular meetings from April 9th, 2025. Is there any discussion by the commission on the April 9th, 2025 meeting minutes? With no further discussion, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the April 9th meeting minutes.
I'll second.
We have a motion made by Gomez and a second by Geyer. Aislinn, will you call the vote?
Gomez.
Yes.
Dyer.
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes. I will now explain the public hearing procedure. The application presentation is limited to 10 minutes. There is a 3-minute limit on public testimony. Those presenting or testifying will state your name for the record. While giving testimony, questions and comments should be pertinent to the application and should be addressed only to the commission. During the public hearing, there should be no questions, comments, or applause from the audience. Should the meeting go longer than 8 p.m., the commission may take a scheduled 10-minute break. Commission members must make their decision regarding the application on facts already in the record and information presented during the public hearing. Protocol requires that commission members and audience be recognized by the commission chair prior to speaking. So with that, I will now read the description for agenda item number 3. This time has been set aside for the commission to hear comments from the public regarding a preliminary plat application submitted by Brady Smith on behalf of Roy Flores to subdivide 0.86 acres of land into residential 13 lots for a townhome development. This subdivision, to be known as Jason Avenue Townhouses, is located at 3534 Jason Avenue. I declare the public hearing open. I would like to invite the applicant to come to the podium.
Good evening, commission members. My name is Brady Smith with Avient 161 Jefferson Avenue, Pocatello, Idaho 83201. Here tonight representing the applicant Roy Flores on this project. I know I have 10 minutes, but I'll try to keep it under 1. This is a pretty straightforward project. It's a replat of Lot 10, Block 4 of the South Park subdivision. Currently, there's an existing home on there that will be demolished, and the new lot, or the remaining lot, will be developed into what you see before you tonight. We've read through the summary conditions, or the summary and the conditions, and also the memorandum, and we don't really have any issues with the comments presented. Water and sewer are available in the street in Jason. Like I say, this is an existing subdivision and basically an infill project. With that, I really don't have anything else to add, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have and would just ask for your recommendation of approval tonight on this project.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant?
There were 9 conditions for the city memorandum. Just want to make sure that you've read through those and you understand and you will address those.
Yes,
Your
yes, I
final plan?
have, and yes, we will.
Okay.
Any other questions? Brady, I'm just curious, I don't know that this is very important to your application, but one of these homes was part of the learn and burn process, is that correct? And then are there still additional homes on the property?
My understanding was there was only one residence on the property. There was some outbuildings and
Okay.
things like that. I don't know if those are being included in what you're referring to. I wasn't aware of it being like a, whatever you just said, learn to burn or something.
Yeah.
I just know what is on there now or what we're planning on demoing. If it's already done, then that would be probably just after the fact. I don't know how much they've done. I have not been out there recently.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was at the right property. Okay, great. Okay,
They're gonna, yeah, whatever we can do to help the training efforts along, we're fine with that. Less for us to,
okay.
move, I guess.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thanks, Brady.
All right, thank you.
We'll invite city staff to come forward with their presentation.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commission members, Matthew Lewis, Senior Planner with the city. As known before you is a preliminary plat request to subdivide approximately 8.86 acres, more or less, of land into 13 lots for a townhome development. The site is addressed as 3534 Jason Avenue and was originally platted as part of Lot 10, Block 4 of South Park subdivision. And yes, the home has been since removed. So you saw the sign there, you're at the right property.
Okay, great.
The subject property is zoned residential medium density. The applicant is proposing to subdivide the property into 12 townhome lots and 1 common lot. Minimum lot size in the RMS district is 3630 square feet for a townhome dwelling. Section 1705.330 infill development parcel criteria allows the lot size to be decreased by up to 60% or to 2,178 square feet. The smallest lot proposed is 2,406 square feet, more or less, thus meeting the criteria for density and lot design. Notice was posted on the subject property and published in the Idaho State Journal on May 27th of 2025. All property owners within a 300-foot radius of the external boundaries of the subject property have been provided notice of the public hearing in order that they may provide comment on the proposed zoning or on the proposed preliminary plat. Written comment was received by the property owner residing at 3425 Jason Avenue. A copy was forwarded to the commission members this morning for your consideration. Staff concludes that the proposed preliminary plat is compliant with Pocatello Municipal Code Section 1620.050 with the conditions outlined in the staff report. And this concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions. If you have any questions regarding infrastructure and that type of thing, Merrill can answer those for you.
Just real quick, I want to verify, and you already spoke to this, but just to verify for the public record, were there any additional written public comments that were submitted?
Just the one.
Just the one. Okay, great. Thank you. If you could very briefly, I'm sorry, are there any questions by the council?
Go ahead.
Briefly walk me through why this is a good lot for infill or what, I guess, the standards are for infill in our community that allows a 60% reduction in lot size.
Yeah, so under that code section, if they meet the criteria, they don't have to extend like the sewer main line, anything of that nature. It's below the 4,600 elevation, which in the valley for lots of 3 acres or less are eligible if they meet those 3 criteria. And so in this case it does. There's a development that was approved a couple of years ago that's over off of Stockman that used the same criteria there, and so that was an infill development as well. So they just meet the criteria for it, so, yeah.
And I know you said Merrill can speak to this, but you can probably answer it too. There's been no concerns as far, we're gonna add a higher density area than I believe what that was originally zoned for. There's no concerns as far as traffic counts or housing density or anything like that, correct? I mean, they've met all the qualifications. They're not asking for a variance of any kind here.
No.
They meet all the qualifications, if I
Yeah.
understand the application correctly.
Yeah, and
All
there's,
the requirements for the applications.
within the staff report, it mentions the 100 peaks or more, which is under, it's on the third page. They weren't required to do like a traffic study or anything of that nature. They didn't come to that point of needing a traffic analysis or anything.
Okay, great. Thank you, Matthew. Any other questions for city staff?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Before starting public testimony, I would like to remind each person, when you come to the podium, you must state your name. Please remember to only address the commission, not the audience or the applicant. You have 3 minutes to testify and will be asked to stop when time runs out. Keep questions and comments pertinent to the application. Do not duplicate questions, concerns, or comments covered by previous testimony heard today. I would like to invite anyone providing testimony in support of the application to come forward.
My name is Clell G. Bennett. My address is 3559 Jason Avenue. I have lived at that address for about 65 years. And from what I understand is all this criteria, one of the things that's been happening since I lived there, when I moved in there, it was a low-density, rural, single housing area, and the people who bought houses there, that's the kind of life we wanted to live. And so since then, we keep changing the zoning to allow more. So now we've gone to duplexes and we've subdivided into duplexes, and then you've done what was referred to, the PUD, that it's actually on Nora instead of Stockman. And so they've got houses over there that's so close together, if you ever have a fire, they're gonna burn them all down. They're ugly. And one of the thoughts that I've had is if you people as zoning or the city council that makes the rules, I guess, had to live in the houses that they're proposing to develop for 5 or 10 years, I don't think you'd allow them. I don't think anybody wants to live in them. They have to live in them. And so over the years, they've allowed old houses to be moved out there and talked about infill. And then they've allowed trailer parks. It's kind of like they want to make that the slum part of Pocatello. And with this, we're zoned for medium density, and so then they've put the rules in there with this 60%. And I don't know if that has to be approved, but that turns medium density that's been changed over the years into very high density. If there's 4 people live in each townhouse, that's 48 people on just over 3/4 of an acre. And so those of us who has lived there all these years, the neighborhood is not well. The street is becoming a freeway almost. There is so much traffic on it. And Fifth Avenue is now getting busy. It's getting very difficult. You've already had fatalities at that intersection. And so traffic ought to be looked at. Furthermore, Jason, that 1/4 mile of road is the roughest piece of road between here and Yuma, Arizona. When I leave home to go to Arizona in the winter, things shake out of my cupboards in my trailer worse on that 1/4 mile than anywhere. But when we do PUDs, we don't think about fixing the road. So when people drive up and down there, it's reasonable.
Time. Thank you. Appreciate it. Is there anyone else providing some testimony in support of the application?
Could I just say one thing about, they put the retention ponds?
You'll have to, I'm sorry, this is just, we got to follow protocol, so.
Okay.
Got to invite you to sit down. And just a reminder, this is for anyone providing testimony in support of the application. Okay, is there anyone providing testimony uncommitted to the application? Is there anyone who would like to provide testimony opposing the application?
Thank you, gentlemen. My name is Teresa Greenup Adcox. I live at 3517 Jason Avenue. I moved here 20-some-odd years ago, about 22 years ago, to a very peaceful, nice neighborhood. Since then, and I still love my neighborhood, and I want it protected, gentlemen and lady, please. The traffic on Jason is not okay. There are two intersections on that route that the folks who buy these townhomes will take are very, very dangerous. One is at Wildlife Way and Swisher. That's a 90-degree turn. Because that intersection deteriorates very fast, and I've talked to the road people here, and it's because it's not engineered right, folks. There's no quick fix to that intersection. Unfortunately. And so because of the the water runs down their pools, and the infrastructure is not sufficient. The other one, there's going to be a bad wreck at the one I just described, folks, because especially with the speeders we're witnessing on Jason. The other one, and I invite you there any time of the day to witness at Wildlife Way and Barton Road, why we do not have signage there about a blind street coming out, I have no idea. There was a bad accident right near there today. There were 3 police cars there, there was an ambulance, and there was a wrecked car just down a little. So I beseech you, keep in mind, and I know we can't regulate how many people have driver's license in our town and use our streets, but I think that.
Time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, appreciate it. Is there anyone else who would like to provide testimony opposing the application?
My name is Lorinda Bennett. I currently live on Stockman. However, I was raised in my dad's home on Jason, just adjacent to the property we're discussing. I'm in line to possibly inherit that, so I have interest in this project. I am appalled that you would even consider putting that much density again on that street. I can't tell you what it has done, how it's changed the neighborhood. It's changed the quality of people. It's changed, as they've said, the speeding. It's changed, the neighbors aren't friendly together. Everybody does their own thing, and it's just changed the whole community out there. One of the things that we noticed On this particular diagram, we see, this is Jason. Up here are retention ponds. Someone's not thinking that through because that's the uphill side. I don't know if anybody knows that, but the water's going to drain that way. So that's something to consider. And it doesn't, I mean, I've been on that property lots of times. We've had friends there. I can't imagine how they're going to cram that many things in there. The kids growing up these days don't have places to play, and then they end up in trouble and we wonder why. We need to have them where they have a space, where they can have a yard, where they can have a garden. They've taken out multiple full fruit trees for this, and all I can figure is it's because somebody wants money. Do they want taxes to come in? I don't know what it is, but somebody wants money. This is not about the people. So that was some of what I wanted to say. I can't imagine living in something that small, crammed in among a beehive. That would, I can't even imagine it. Yeah, the density out there, the density has just changed so dramatically. I would really encourage you to come and spend not a minute or 5 or half an hour. I would like for you to come and spend several days out there, all different times of days. I wish you could live there for a week so you can see what I'm talking about. But you guys don't have to live with it. We do. And we would appreciate your consideration on some of those things. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to provide testimony opposing the application? With no further testimony or discussion, I would like to invite the applicant to rebuttal, if they would like to, on testimony received.
Yes, good evening. Again, I don't know if you need my information again, but as far as some of the comments, I can't speak to, code enforcement and things on actual streets and things that were mentioned in terms of safety and those concerns. But what I can tell you is that we have dedicated access points that will be, at a stop before you enter a road. So I think what was mentioned is further north from where we are, and I'm not disputing that it would add to, traffic onto Jason. That's not what I'm saying, but the points that were brought up are not even relatively close to where we're at our lot. So that's the first thing. Number two, I think there's always comments about traffic. The problem with traffic here is that we don't know what traffic is. Okay, we're used to traffic and not a lot of traffic, and so when we get a little bit of traffic, that's always like 100% of the time. I've been doing this for 20-something years. It's always a concern. But there's a reason that we actually use the manuals that we use, and these peak traffic flows that we use are based in, nationwide type scenarios. So it's meant to cover the global aspect of what traffic is. Just because we don't actually see that here in our everyday life does not mean that we actually have a traffic problem. I know that's what it feels like for people, but I've also done traffic studies. I've driven in cars where we're actually driving routes and timing things out on a daily basis for 7 days straight, trying to gather traffic data. And I can tell you that the peak hour is a real thing. You might have just as many experiences or examples of traffic that isn't very heavy at certain times of day as opposed to the peak hours that they are. And so again, I know it happens. I know it happens all over town. With regards to the infill, there's always another side of the coin. If we leave the house there, it becomes blighted, abandoned, trees, overgrowth. There's a lot of other sides to that too. So, the neighborhood could turn completely, the other way too. It could be, another attraction for, transients, things like that, empty houses, abandoned houses, things like that. That's why the infill, I believe, was implemented as a city, and the staff could speak to that more than I. But it was meant to encourage, rebuilding places that are blighted, places that are, not really up to snuff. So, I can't speak to, why that exactly was, but I feel that was a part of it. And, we do follow the ordinance that's allowed for this project. And I know it was stated that, they couldn't imagine living there, well, they don't have to live there. There's people that do, and there's a market for it, and that's why these developers build it. The other thing you have to keep in mind is, I don't know if you guys have kids, but it'll be a long time before our kids can afford houses right now. So this is kind of what is affordable. And I know that's not a popular opinion, but that's kind of what drives some of these projects. You can't build something and make a profit, with housing. It's becoming more and more out of reach for a lot of people. So that's why these smaller, more dense projects come about, is because of that. So I just wanted to mention that. As far as the grading and everything like that, the reason I showed the stormwater in the corners is because that's where I'm going to try to get it. I know it's uphill, but we have underground solutions. It'll probably be a buried solution because we don't really have a lot of accessible pond area. So that was just identifying where we're going to try to stick our chambers. So hopefully that explains that. This is a preliminary plat, and we haven't, even begun to actually do the hard grading. But I've done a lot of grading in my life, and we'll make it drain. So I've been able to make things drain uphill before. It's just a matter of grading. So we'll get it where we want it. It's just those were identified as our open spaces for the capture area, but it will likely be underground. So hopefully that answers their question. Other than that, like I said, I still think that we meet the ordinance. It is more residents, more traffic, but it doesn't move the needle in terms of what actual traffic problems dictate. So with that, I'd answer any questions you might have based on my rebuttal.
Just one more time to revisit the stormwater. It's in the Public Works memorandum. They've asked you to
I've
address
read
it.
all the memorandum.
Yep.
I've worked with the city a lot. You guys need to remember, we don't come with a full-blown design here.
Of course.
So that's why you don't see the detail. There will be a full set of plans, a final plat, everything. It'll all be taken care of. And we'll have to meet city standards or it won't be approved through engineering. So
Thank you.
Questions for the applicant?
thank you.
I now declare the public hearing closed. How does the commission wish to proceed? I would entertain discussion regarding the application or a motion.
I make a motion to approve the preliminary plat application request by Roy Flores for the Jason Avenue Townhouse subdivision, finding that the application does meet the standards for approval under Chapter 16.20.050 of the Pocatello Municipal Code, with the conditions listed in the staff report, and those are 9 development conditions listed in the Public Work Memorandum, and to authorize the chair to sign the finding of fact and decision.
I'll second motion.
I have a motion made by Gomez and a second by Guyer. Aislinn, will you call the vote, please?
Gomez,
Yes.
Guyer,
Yes.
Mendoza,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Motion carries.
For the public record, agenda item number 4 has been pulled off the map. So with that, we will adjourn our meeting.